Hey, today we are starting this week off with Matthew chapter 26. This is a really big chapter. It's a long chapter. There's a lot that happens in it and a lot we could talk about. Two things I want to point out. The first is, if you read this chapter closely, just how human Jesus is. I mean, he is betrayed by his closest followers, by Peter, and really by all of them. He's betrayed by Judas in ways that are hard to understand. He gets tired. He gets grieved and agitated. He gets so grieved that it says, even to death. I'm deeply grieved, even to death. And it's just so human of Jesus that he gets so upset. He gets so sad. He gets so grief-stricken that it's almost like he's gonna die. And I don't know, I just find it comforting that Jesus himself knows what it's like to be so grief-stricken, to be so sad, to be so disappointed, to be so heartbroken. Jesus himself knows what that's like, and you and I know pieces of what that's like. Some of us more than others, and Jesus knows what that's like too. And part of what that shows us here, this, from Matthew 26, is that there's nothing wrong with being sad. There's nothing wrong with being grief-stricken. There's nothing wrong with being broken by what the world does to us. A lot of times we're made to believe that we can't be upset, we can't be sad, we can't be frustrated, we can't be grieved, we can't be agitated. And Jesus was. And that means that we can too. That's the first thing I wanted to point out. But the second thing, and it's really actually quite related, it's in, verses 36 through 46 here. It's what we learn about prayer, right? Jesus goes to his Father in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he prays, "If it is possible, let this cup pass from me," right? But yet not what I want, but what you want. And then he goes back to him and says, again, "My Father, if this cannot pass until I drink it, then your will be done." And then he prays a third time, saying the same words. Two super important things about prayer that this teaches us. The first is that it's okay to ask God for what we want and for what we need. But the important caveat is Jesus ends it with, "But not my will, but your will." So what this prayer is this is a way of saying to God, "God, this is what I need, this is what I want, but I trust you more than I trust me." And that's really what the heart of prayer is all about. It's, God, this is what I want, this is what I need, but I trust you ultimately, that you know what I really need. But the other thing that this teaches us about prayer is that so often, and I saw this a lot when I was a chaplain, people, like chaplain in the hospital, people would say things to me like, "Mom is sick, my wife is sick and dying," whatever it is. And we prayed and we prayed and we prayed that they would get better, and they didn't get better. Is it something I've done wrong? Or does God hate me? Or does God ignore me? Did I not pray right? Because the thing that I wanted for my loved one to get better, it didn't happen. I heard that in all kinds of ways when I was a chaplain in the hospital. The fact is, right here, Jesus prays for something, and Jesus does not get what he wants. And what that shows us is that just because you don't get the answer to prayer that we want, it doesn't mean it's because you're a bad person. It doesn't mean because God doesn't like you. It doesn't mean because God's not on your side, because Jesus was like the best person, and Jesus was God's only son, and God was certainly on Jesus' side, and he didn't get what he wanted. And so, it's just helpful for us to be reminded that not every prayer comes with a yes, and it's not really about how good we are or who we are or if we're praying the right way, because sometimes even the perfect person, Jesus, who's praying in the exact right way, because it's Jesus who's praying it, he didn't get what he wanted either. So just a few tidbits, things of note from a really great and big, important chapter, Matthew 26.